So, who doesn't want to be a king? I mean, think of all the sweet benefits you get, like having a crown, having a throne, establishing tax laws, throwing lavish parties, ruling over people, getting violently overthrown, living in a castle. Ah, the good life. Well, anyways, there is a way. So Little King's Story is a charming game where you play as an adorable little king of an adorable little kingdom, who can work his adorable little subjects to their adorable little deaths.
Developed by Ching Inc. and Town Factory, it was brought to North America by Xseed in 2009.
There was a version of this game on the PS Vita released in 2012, as well as a Steam release in 2016. However, I only have the Wii version, so let's pop this game in and play.
Once you start the game, you're greeted with a brief story,
as well as credits.
About a young boy who follows some magical multicolored rats that lead him to a magical land where he is then crowned king.
After that, the title appears.
And you're greeted with pomp and circumstance.
And by that I mean, the title song is Pomp and Circumstance, March No. 1 in D, section A Land of Hope and Glory by Sir Edward Elgar.
Although you probably know the song better as the one they play during graduation.
And that brings me to my next point. The music is truly classic.
And by classic, I mean, all the songs are arrangements of classical scores from various composers, from Tchaikovsky to Bach and Rossini.
So we start the game.
So you can choose a name of your own or select a random one.
I chose Ivan.
Although there are plenty of clever names you can choose from.
So when we start the game, we explore the castle and meet with our ministers.
The castle is a small rundown shack, however it does get bigger as you progress through the game.
As for the ministers, you have Hauser the Bull Knight.
He's a bit of a warmonger, but if you talk to him, he'll give you a basic rundown of your population and your money.
However, as the game progresses, you do get more options from him.
First, there are the plans that allow you to build new buildings,
allowing for more jobs and more citizens,
as well as allowing you to make improvements to your kingdom and your citizens.
The other option being the suggestion box.
From here, you can read letters from your subjects.
Some are just simple comments,
both the good and the bad.
And the others are optional quests, with the exception of maybe one or two.
Then we have Verde.
She's the records minister.
Talking to her allows you to look up your stats for your kingdom.
Everything from how many people have what job to whether the citizens love or hate you.
She is also how you save your game.
Next is Liam.
He's the anything minister.
He's there mostly for tutorials and explanation,
which is useful, especially if you don't have the game's manual.
Although even if you do have the manual, or go online to look up the explanations, they're still worth reading,
as sometimes the descriptions are full of jokes and references.
And then lastly, there's Poncho.
He is Hauser's trusty steed, and also a cat.
He brings you the most important messages,
such as letters of challenge from other kingdoms.
So early on, like any good kingdom when they start, you have absolutely no money and need to earn some.
And in order to earn money, you need to go out and find some treasure.
So to accomplish this, we get our citizens to follow us around and we make them do things.
Although we only start off with carefree adults.
Or as society likes to call them, millennials.
Carefree adults are only able to dig holes, and in order to remedy this, we need to build a workplace.
Your first options are a farmhouse and a guardhouse.
I usually start with the farmhouse, then I build the guardhouse.
After that, you can build the town square, which gives you the suggestion box.
By now you should have a decent grasp on how the game plays,
which boils down to aiming your citizens at objects of importance,
and throwing them at it. And if they have the right job for the task, they start working.
The controls for the game are pretty basic, and despite being on the Wii, not once do they use motion controls.
And though the controls are simplistic and responsive, it can be kinda tricky to line up your subjects, even when you're using the aiming.
It's a mild annoyance when trying to get treasure, but when you're fighting the enemies, it doesn't feel as bad.
And this is kind of from the fact that the fights boil down to just throw people at the enemy until you win.
This doesn't mean that battles are boring, though. In fact, they're actually really quite fun.
Especially the boss battles, where there is some level of strategy, though most of it does boil down to not getting hit by the boss's attack.
And once you beat a boss, there is sometimes a festival.
After defeating the first boss,
Cowbones.
Your people celebrate your victory by
worshipping the head of the boss I just defeated.
And after that we meet Father Campbell of the Church of Soup. He asks you to build a church.
which can be used to have your citizens get married.
And as the game asks, what's the point?
Well,
If two citizens wed, then a chicken flies by and drops an egg that hatches into a carefree child.
who are in fact better than carefree adults because they can climb trees.
As you progress through the game, you'll be able to unlock more of the world, as well as expand your kingdom.
The game has a very good sense of humor.
The translation team also did a good job at adding in some subtle pop culture references.
And despite all the adorableness, the game can get dark.
On top of sacrificing your citizens for your own personal gain, Howitzer's a warmonger who wants to take over the world.
Even the game over screen is one of the saddest, as well as one of the best.
With it being your funeral saying life over.
Definitely one of my top 5 game over screens of all time.
The game just oozes charm, and that's why I love it.
I enjoyed every moment of it I played.
It's a great game that deserves all the praise I can give it.
So do I recommend it? Of course I do. However,
The game is not for everyone. In a way, it reminds me of Pikmin, or Animal Crossing, or Harvest Moon.
it's not that they're bad games. In fact, I would go as far to say as they are great games. However, they're not for everyone.
So if any of the things I said or the footage I've shown piqued your interest in this game,
Go ahead and check it out. You shouldn't be disappointed. And until next time, have a good life.